The second part begins with Seong, who decides to travel to the US to retrieve his daughter, but ultimately changes his mind. Suddenly, he receives a call from an unknown person, questioning why he is not traveling. Seong reveals that he will not do so until he takes revenge on everyone involved in the Squid Game from the first season. Afterward, he goes into the bathroom of an unknown market, pulls something out from behind his ear, and discovers a small piece of metal, realizing he has been monitored recently. On the other hand, we see Officer Jun, who appeared in the first season, regaining consciousness after being shot and falling off a cliff. It's revealed that he infiltrated the game staff to search for his older brother. He gathers all the information to track him down, only to discover that the game's overseer was his brother all along. Unfortunately, his brother shoots him upon learning that Jun has uncovered the game's secrets to prevent him from reporting to the police. 2 years after the incident, Jun returns to work, but this time, he is assigned to traffic duty. One day, he stops a young man with his girlfriend for not wearing a helmet. The girlfriend tries to flirt with Jun to avoid the ticket, but he becomes irritated and leaves her on the street as punishment. Later, Jun speaks to his supervisor, asking to return to the criminal department. When questioned about who shot him on the island, Jun doesn't disclose it was his brother, claiming he couldn't see clearly at the time. Back to Seong, he dreams again about the Squid Game overseer, holding the corpses of those who died. He wakes up terrified and dyes his hair black again. There's a knock at his door, and through the surveillance cameras, he sees his assistant, whom Seong hired for a simple mission: to locate the man who recruits participants for the Squid Game. This man hasn't been seen in 2 years. Seong gives his assistant a large sum of money to continue searching for this man everywhere. The assistant then instructs his men to leave no stone unturned to find this man. However, his men mock him, explaining they have been searching for 2 years without success. The assistant insists, revealing that Seong owed him a significant debt, disappeared, returned suddenly wealthy, and now pays him a fortune every day to find this unknown man. The men return to their base and devise a new strategy to find the recruiter. They split up to different locations, questioning people at subway stations about anyone offering a simple game with a chance to win big money. Meanwhile, Jun continues searching for the island where the games took place, hoping it will lead him to his brother. However, the location has changed, and days pass with neither Jun nor Seong making progress toward their respective goals. One day, Seong's assistant and one of his men spot the recruiter at a subway station. They follow him closely, documenting everything and notifying Seong immediately. Seong rushes over with a weapon. The recruiter targets the homeless, knowing no one will ask about them. From a distance, Seong's assistant and his companion observe and film him, but are caught off guard. The recruiter violently attacks them to escape. Meanwhile, Seong is stopped for speeding by traffic police, where Jun coincidentally notices his name on the ticket. Intrigued, Jun searches public records and learns that Seong was a participant in the Squid Game. Seong arrives at the assistant's location, only to find blood on the ground. Realizing the recruiter has kidnapped them, the recruiter forces them to play Russian roulette, where the loser dies. The revolver has only 1 bullet. Tragically, Seong's assistant loses the game and is killed. Jun eventually tracks Seong to his location and realizes Seong is searching for the recruiter. As Jun hides, Seong returns home to find the recruiter waiting for him. When questioned about why he's still in the country, the recruiter explains he wanted to thank him for introducing him to the game, which made him wealthy. Seong lies, expressing interest in meeting the game's officials to thank them. The recruiter reveals that his father had participated in the game, and when he lost, he killed him without hesitation, proving his suitability for the job. The recruiter challenges Seong to play the same Russian roulette game he played with the assistant. The recruiter tells Seong the key to meeting the officials is in his pocket. Seong fires the first shot, but it's empty. When the recruiter takes his turn, the bullet fires, killing him instantly. At that moment, Jun arrives at Seong's home after tracing his address from the ticket. Hearing the gunshot, he searches the house but only finds Seong's assistant tied up. The assistant introduces himself as Kim and tells Jun that Seong is in room 410. Jun rushes there, finds a body, and decides to arrest Seong. However, Kim intervenes and knocks Jun unconscious. Seong learns that the assistant was killed by the recruiter and discovers a Squid Game card in his pocket with an address written on it. When Jun regains consciousness, he finds Seong in front of him and tries to figure out how he got there. Seong reminds him of the fight that broke out in the first season when the masked staff intervened to stop it, revealing that Jun was one of those staff members. Jun explains that he wasn't truly one of them. He had disguised himself to search for his older brother. Jun then asks Seong about the dead man nearby. Seong tells him it's the recruiter for the Squid Game, who had just lost and killed himself. Jun reveals that he knows one of the game's employees and asks Seong to help him track down the game's organizers. He shows Seong the weapons he's been stockpiling over 2 years to prepare for a confrontation. Seong advises Jun to quit his job to have more time to plan together. Seong then approaches someone who helps smuggle people and requests his assistance in bringing Se-byok's mother from North Korea to South Korea, fulfilling her dying wish from the first season. The man informs him that she was released from prison due to tuberculosis, but warns it could take a long time to bring her over. Seong offers him a large sum of money to expedite the process and gives him a note with the address of his mother's fish shop, saying that if he cannot contact him later, he should look for Se-byok's brother there. As Seong leaves the office, a young woman named No Yul enters, revealing she's looking for her 1-year-old daughter. She explained she came from North Korea and shot her boss, making her a fugitive wanted by the police. The man advises her to forget about her daughter. That night, No Yul sits in her car, holding a picture of her daughter and husband, when a stranger knocks on her car window and hands her a Squid Game card. The day ends there. The following morning, Jun visits the grave of his brother's wife, placing flowers as his brother used to. He returns to his mother, who reminisces about her older son, believing he always thought she favored Jun because Jun was her biological son, while the elder son was her stepson. She mentions how his condition worsened after his wife's death, and how he donated a kidney to Jun, preventing him from helping his wife when she was sick. Jun admits he feels guilty about the situation and becomes frustrated with her. Meanwhile, No Yul resigns from her job, where she worked as a children's entertainer. On her way out, she sees an ambulance transporting a little girl named Nguyen, whose father is terrified for her. No Yul follows them to ensure the girl is okay and learns that she has leukemia. Heartbroken and knowing the father can't afford treatment, No Yul sneaks into the girl's room, leaving her hat behind before leaving unseen. Later, she calls the number on the Squid Game card, expressing her desire to participate. She is given instructions on where to wait for the game. At the same time, Seong visits a dentist to have a tooth replaced with a fake one containing a tracking device. Kim, Seong's assistant who recently died, is paid for this service. Afterward, Seong gathers a group of skilled men, whom Kim describes as elite special forces, to train them in weaponry. Jun, Kim, and Seong then head to the address on the game's card. Kim is surprised to see everyone in disguise, but Jun explains that it's Halloween. When Seong and Kim enter, they find people celebrating, and no one notices anything suspicious. Jun stays behind in the car to monitor them using the tracking device. Soon, Jun spots individuals linked to the Squid Game. He rushes to the party, but is stopped by security. Drawing his weapon, Jun forces his way in, hoping to reach Seong before he is taken. Inside, a staff member uses a taser to incapacitate Kim. Meanwhile, Seong follows one of the staff members to a waiting white car and gets in. Jun watches the car drive off and follows it with Kim and the others. In the car, Seong speaks to one of the Squid Game organizers, who addresses him through a metallic pig mask. Seong accuses him of exploiting poor people and building the game on injustice to force the impoverished to participate. The organizer denies this, insisting that everyone who joined the game did so of their own free will. He pulls out a weapon to take down the car's driver, but unfortunately, the car is bulletproof, so he abandons the plan. Meanwhile, one of the snipers shoots at the tires of Jun's car and his team's vehicle to stop them from following Seong's car. Seong then requests the leader to allow him to rejoin the game. Gas is released inside the car, and after Seong loses consciousness, it is revealed that the game's leader had been sitting beside the driver the entire time. He welcomes Seong back to the game. At the same time, No puts on the Squid Game staff uniform, signaling that she is one of the employees, not a contestant. When Seong wakes up, he finds himself back in the Squid Game facility, surrounded by participants. Shortly after, the game staff enter and announce that they will play 6 games over 6 days. The final winner will receive 45.6 billion won. When the contestants ask why they are wearing masks, the staff explain it's one of the game's rules to ensure anonymity. Contestant 333 expresses his dissatisfaction with the game, and a video is shown to him revealing that he was once a famous YouTuber who convinced people to invest in stocks and lost all their money. He now has massive debts and is wanted by the police for various cybercrimes, so he decides to remain silent. Next, contestant 196, named Mina, is introduced. She also has massive debts, even more than the other contestants, owing 10 billion won. Like the others, if she fails to pay her debts, she faces arrest or being caught by her creditors. Hearing about the 45.6 billion won prize gives them hope, although most remain skeptical. The staff explained that after each game, the participants can vote to end the game and return to their normal lives. Seong is surprised by this new rule, understanding it means they can leave anytime and take the money they've accumulated from the games. Each participant signs the game's consent form. Later, a contestant named Thanos gets into a fight with Myung, blaming him for convincing him to invest in cryptocurrency and lose all his money. Meanwhile, Seong reunites with an old friend named Jung, who is also participating, and they agree to form a team during the games. Outside the island, Jung gets closer to pinpointing Seong's location to determine where the game is taking place. However, they are surprised to find the tracking device with a hunter in the middle of the island. Kim informs Jun that they were tricked and likely won't be able to locate Seong. The first game begins. Red light, green light. Jun and his team are shocked they haven't reached the location in time. Jun realizes the tracking device isn't in Seong's tooth anymore. He tries to warn the contestants that this isn't just a game. They could lose their lives. But everyone dismisses him as crazy, thinking he's trying to win the money alone. The game starts, and Jun decides to help the others, not wanting anyone to die. Knowing the rules from participating before, he tries to guide them, but Jung tells him to stay quiet, saying his warnings only panic people. Thanos notices a bee land on Mina's neck, and when she moves to swat it, the doll detects her movement and shoots her. She dies instantly. Seong shouts for everyone to stay still, but fear causes many to move, resulting in a massacre as the doll kills participant after participant. No, one of the game staff is tasked with eliminating the disqualified contestants. Her father is among them, but she decides to kill him herself. The leader watches everything unfold on his screen. The remaining contestants realize Seong knows the rules and trust him to guide them to the finish line. Near the end, a man with an injured leg struggles to cross the finish line. Seong and another woman, Yoon Shu, return to help him, but No kills him, saying he couldn't save himself. This deeply frustrates Seong. The first game ends, and the staff return to the hall to congratulate the winners. They announce that the money will soon be added to the prize pool. Seong reminds everyone of Rule 3, which states that if the majority votes to end the game, they can return to their normal lives. As the money drops into the glass piggy bank, many contestants change their minds. Tempted to continue, a vote is held. Seong votes to end the game, aligning with those who fear for their lives. However, more contestants choose to continue. Seong tries to reason with them, emphasizing the risks, but his warnings are ignored. One contestant grows angry at Seong, accusing him of controlling their decisions. Jung defends Seong, pointing out that he helped them survive the first game and taught them how to win. Without him, they all would have died. Seong reveals that he has been in this place for 3 years and understands what might happen. The voting ends in a tie, leaving the final decision to player 001. He votes to continue the game, delighting those who wanted to stay and disappointing those who wanted to leave. It is revealed that player 001 is the game's leader. He looks at Seong with a challenging gaze, signaling that no one will leave until there's a final winner. The next day at lunch, the contestants press Seong for details about the second game. He tells them it will involve carving shapes out of sugar candy, and that the shapes were 4, with the easiest being the triangle and the hardest being the umbrella. The leader, disguised as a contestant, sits with Seong and asks why he returned to the game despite having won 45.6 billion won and being able to live his life. Seong replies that all that money wasn't his. It was the price paid by those who died in the game. Meanwhile, Thanos keeps demanding that Myung return the money he lost because of him. A fight breaks out between them, but the leader intervenes, quickly defeating Thanos, who thought himself invincible. The contestants applaud the leader, as no one had been able to stand up to Thanos before. That night, the leader talks privately with Seong and reveals that his wife is critically ill and needs a liver transplant as soon as possible. Otherwise, she will die. This is why he joined the game. In another room, doctors are dissecting the bodies of deceased contestants to harvest their organs for large sums of money. One doctor notices that some bodies died in ways that rendered their organs unusable. He contacts the supervisor to report the issue, learning that No is responsible. The supervisor becomes furious with No, warning her that he won't forgive her if this happens again, and that he won't report this mistake to the leader this time. No, believing the game didn't involve death, is shocked. The supervisor reminds her that her job is simply to follow orders, and that the organs they harvest are used to help others. At the police station, Jun pleads with his superior for help, urging him to investigate where the Squid Game is taking place. However, the police chief refuses, citing a lack of evidence to support Jun's claims. Losing hope of saving Seong, Jun begins to despair. Meanwhile, Kim sits with a ship captain, seeking assistance in finding the island. He recounts everything he knows about the game, hoping the captain can help. Contestant 222, whose name is Jun-hee, is revealed to know Myung. They were in a relationship, and she is pregnant with his child. Myung had asked her to abort the baby, but she refused, expressing her happiness that Thanos had beaten him earlier as a form of punishment. The second round begins, and Seong discovers that the game has changed. Participants must divide into groups of 5. Arguments arise as contestants blame Seong for the unexpected twist, but player 001 defends him and decides to join his team. Jung also joins, but they still need one more member. Jun-hee, being pregnant and in need of help, asks to join their team, but no one wants to accept her. Elsewhere, contestant Singh is with his elderly mother and struggles to find a team as well. His mother tells him to leave her behind and join any group, but he refuses to abandon her. Eventually, they find a team that needs more members and join them. The game organizers explain the rules. Each team will play 5 different games, with each member responsible for one. The team must win all games to succeed. What they don't know is that their legs will be tied together, making the games much harder. As the games begin, most teams fail and are eliminated by death. No ensures that anyone's still alive after losing his shot. When it's Singh's turn, he invents a clever strategy to walk, and surprisingly, his elderly mother succeeds in her game, despite everyone doubting her abilities. Next, it's Seong's team's turn. They manage to win all their games except for player 001, who fails his round and only has one attempt left. Frustrated, he beats himself up, believing he won't succeed. Seong calms him down, reminding him that if he fails, the entire team will be eliminated. In the end, player 001 manages to complete his game successfully. The final team to go fails, and they are eliminated. After the round ends, 2 staff members angrily confront No in her room, furious that she once again mishandled the bodies, rendering their organs unfit for sale or use. She tries to escape, but they injure her face, warning that next time they'll cut off her fingers. Back in the contestants' hall, the prize pool reaches 20 billion won. Despite the large number of deaths, the contestants are confused as to why the amount is so low. The voting for whether to continue the game takes place again. This time, player 001 votes to stop the game, while Seong decides to continue. Once again, the vote ends in favor of continuing, leaving Seong feeling even more hopeless. Later, Singh tells his mother that he has a significant amount of debt and must continue playing against his will. Jung, however, tries to convince the team that they can withdraw after the 3rd round, once they've collected enough money to pay off their debts. Seong warns them that it's not as simple as they think, explaining that they might be forced to kill each other in the next round. That night, Seong takes extra precautions to protect his team, fearing an attack similar to the chaos caused by the thug in the 1st season. Player 001 believes Seong is overreacting and remarks that Seong hasn't truly experienced such moments with him before. and then he asked them to take turns standing guard at night to ensure they would be safer. However, Sing's mother wanted to leave to use the bathroom. When the staff allowed her, she went with Jung-hee, who noticed she was taking too long. Jung-hee went in to find her crying. The elderly woman explained she was deeply scared for herself and her unborn child. Jung-hee tried to comfort her before they returned to their accommodation. The next day, Officer Jun gathered 2 teams to head toward the island under the leadership of Captain Park, while another team moved with Captain Como. Jun told Park they needed to reach the island before 6 days passed, as the game would end by then. As time passed, the 3rd round of the game approached. The participants were instructed to form groups matching the number announced over the intercom, enter the designated rooms, and close the door within 30 seconds. The contestants were puzzled about how to form the required groups as the platform spun around them. Suddenly, the number 10 was announced, and they had 30 seconds to assemble a group of 10 and enter a room. Seong watched as those who failed were killed on the spot. The games became increasingly challenging, and the number of contestants dwindled. When the number 3 was called, and we see that the Sing group rejects his mother to get rid of her because she's old and slow. But before she dies, Seong saved her and joined 001. He asked her about her son, and she expressed her sadness over his poor choices, though she believed he had a kind heart. In a critical moment, Myung entered the room in place of Jung-mi, who ultimately lost her life, leaving her group heartbroken because she had been kind-hearted. Later, Jung was paired with 001, but a 3rd person accidentally joined them. The required number was only 2. So he eliminated the 3rd person to save himself and 001. The 3rd round ended, and the survivors returned to the main hall, while the deceased were placed in coffins for organ harvesting. Before the 4th round, a vote was held to decide whether to continue the game. This time, the number of participants wanting to end the game increased significantly, giving Seong hope. However, 001 ultimately decided to end the game, leading to a tied vote. The staff announced that the vote would be repeated after giving the contestants some time to reflect. Thanos began persuading the weaker contestants to continue the game for the prize money, but Myung overheard and warned him not to influence others' decisions. Thanos provoked him by mentioning his past relationship, leading to a fight where Myung stabbed him with a fork. Meanwhile, Jun and Captain Kim discovered a metal door on the ground. When they tried to open it, it turned out to be a trap, resulting in an explosion. They returned to the ship, with Jun becoming convinced that the game organizers knew all their movements. To avoid detection, they decided to stop using phones and communicate only via radios. Back in the hall, chaos erupted. Myung, terrified after attacking Thanos, hid in the bathroom. The staff noticed the contestants turning on each other, but did not intervene. And when the fight ends, we see the group that wants to continue the game arguing and insulting the group that wants to end the game. After a while, each team sits by themselves, thinking of a plan to win the vote. Eventually, someone suggests that they fight the staff and take their weapons. 001 points out that this is impossible because the staff outnumber them significantly, not to mention the weapons that would make it easy for them to win. So, their end would obviously be death, while there's a chance they could succeed in the vote and leave without any issues. And when night falls, we see the group that wants to continue the game attacking those who refuse to play in order to eliminate them. The staff watches everything but doesn't intervene. Seong hides, waiting for the staff to step in and stop the chaos, knowing that if too many players die, there won't be enough people to continue the game. That's exactly what happens. But this time, Seong pretends to be dead. When one of the staff members approaches him, he manages to take their weapon and shoots the rest of the staff. His team helps him, and chaos breaks out in the place. So, they manage to seize a large number of weapons, and Seong stops Jung from killing the team that wanted to continue the game. Seong goes on to destroy all the surveillance cameras so that no one can hear them, see their movements, or figure out what they're planning. They realize that they must eliminate the game's founders, as this is their only chance to escape. Gradually, the other contestants gain courage and start joining Seong's team one by one, and demanded the staff remove their masks and reveal the organizer's location. The staff warned others via intercom not to approach the administrative area. Despite this, Seong's group reached the gates and forced a staff member to open them. When Seong used the staff member's mask to bypass security, a bullet suddenly ended the staff member's life. The contestants fled, exchanging gunfire with the staff. Seong and Jung advanced toward the administrative area, but their path led to an empty room. Seong continued bravely, killing staff one by one and seizing their weapons. Meanwhile, 001 walked with Seong and signaled to the cameras as if asserting control. One of the team members, hearing the gunfire, decided to flee out of fear. Meanwhile, Seong and Jung realized 001 had dealt with the staff. Hearing gunfire, they thought the staff had eliminated 001 and his group. On the ship, the drone pilot watched Captain Park suspiciously as he loaded something onto the vessel. When Park killed him and disposed of the body, Kim woke up, suspecting something was amiss. Park reassured him it was just the waves. In the game, many contestants were injured, and the staff regained control. Seong realized most of his team had been killed and decided to surrender. The masked leader appeared, killed Jung before Seong's eyes, and blamed Seong's mistakes for his friend's death. Overcome with grief, Seong watched helplessly as the second season ended.